Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. I'm TCaptainX. The Season 3 Reloaded update is here, and today we're going to be focusing on what is the new meta, because a lot of weapon balancing was done in today's update. Plus, we got a new assault rifle, the Bal-27, and a new aftermarket kit for the Lockwood MK2s that make them akimbo shotguns. So I want to discuss if these are even worth unlocking and leveling up in the first place, though. So really quick, I want to just fly through what guns were buffed and nerfed, and then we'll take a little bit more of an in-depth look on our website, ggs.ai, to tell you guys what the current meta is. So pretty much all the assault rifles got nerfs to their hipfire spread. Not that big of a deal. It does kind of affect the BP50 though, because of that aftermarket kit that makes it an SMG, but this is just a hipfire nerf for the SVA. Now the Ram 7 got slaughtered in this update. It was already, I think, starting to fall off from all the nerfs. It is horrible now, and if you're still using it, you are insane because the time to kill is much, much slower. MTZ556 just got a hipfire nerf as well, not that big of a deal. Holger 556 hipfire nerf as well. MCW did get a small buff with its damage at mid to long range. It's going to be good, a little bit more viable, but does not seem like it's going to be a meta option. The FR556 got a lot of adjustments and buffs, but I still do not think it's going to be anywhere near meta because it is still a burst gun and it's just going to be too slow shooting of a burst to be very solid. M13B did get a bit of a buff as well, but again, probably not going to be meta. Tempest Razorback, a bit of a buff. Again, maybe viable, not meta. And the FR Advancer got another decent, nice damage buff, but again, not going to be meta. Battle rifles, the SOA Subverter, which was one of the best guns in the game, did catch a decent nerf. Its minimum range damage, which is its long range damage, is not going to be nearly as good anymore. MTZ762, small buff to the ADS. Again, not going to change much. It'll be okay, not meta. SO14 got buffed, but that thing's horrendous. It doesn't matter what they do. It's not going to be good. HRM9 got murdered in today's update. It is finally gone. Do not use the HRM9. It is bad, bad, bad now. Ram 9, small nerf to its recoil, not that big of a deal. Rival 9 did get buffs to its damages, but it's not going to be enough to make it a meta option. It'll just be an okay option still. WSP9 got a Sprintifire buff. So this thing is going to have a really fast Sprintifire, which it was already really good. So I think now with the HRM9 nerf, WSP9 is going to be one of the best options. But more importantly, the Striker 9, which is not on this list, is probably going to be the best overall SMG. Then we have the Striker. This is the regular Striker, got a nice buff to its long range damage. So it's going to be a great like sniper support option, but or close range as well will be really good. A few small adjustments to the KV broadside and river shotguns, but really not much going on here. LMGs, we did get a buff to the DG58. I think it'll be a good option, but on Resurgence, probably not quite meta. Bruin MK9 got a bit of a nerf. Probably it was a pretty good option before, probably going to fall out of the meta now though. TAC Eradicator got a buff to its handling, so it becomes more viable, especially on like Resurgence. I think it'll be a pretty solid option, TAC Eradicator. Then we got sniper nerfs across the board to kind of the one-shot snipers. All of these got nerfs to their bullet velocity, and then the Moors also got a nerf to its aim down sight speed. However, from what we saw, these changes to the bullet velocity have not gone into effect in the game. So very important here. Yes, these did change per se in the patch notes, but they are not live in the game yet from what we can tell. Pretty much all of the pistols got big movement buffs, but the WSP Stinger also got a pretty nice buff, and this thing with akimbos is pretty crazy up close as well. Also got some adjustments to the akimbo for the Daemons as well. All right, now let's talk about the Bal-27 assault rifle that got added. This gun is pretty mid, to be honest. I did level it up. It's ranking a C tier on GG's with our AI algorithm. Its time to kill is pretty decent up close, and it's very accurate in the first 4 shots, which are a slower fire rate. After those first 4 shots, it starts to shoot faster. The recoil gets pretty wobbly. The time to kill is decent, but the recoil is so wobbly, it's just going to be really hard to use at longer ranges, and there's just going to be a lot other better options instead to use. So in reality, the Bal-27 as of now, probably not worth leveling up right now. And then next, we do have the new aftermarket part for the Lockwood MK2, which is the JAK Wardens, which make these into akimbo shotguns. Now I gotta say, these look freaking awesome, but they are trash in Warzone. If any YouTuber tells you that they are meta broken, they're lying, so don't listen to them. Now in multiplayer, they're pretty fun. I can't lie if you want to go around and like shipment and blow some people's heads off, but they are bad in Warzone. Okay, now let's get into what the heck is the meta. So we spent pretty much all day getting our website ggs.ai updated with the new buffs and nerfs and all that good stuff. If you haven't heard me talk about our website ggs.ai, it is a website we created that uses an AI algorithm to rank all of the best loadouts in the game right now. So I've got this filtered. We're going to look at long range first. So I've got this focused on long range. I've got ARs, battle rifles, and LMGs selected. And you're going to see the only meta ranking gun right now is the SVA 545 on burst. After that, we have a few guns in A tier, MTZ 556, the TAC Volvier LMG, and the Holger 556. Actually, nothing is ranking B tier, so there's a big jump. And then to C tier, you have the SOA Subverter, TAC Eradicator, and then the Bal-27. As you can see, the Ram 7 is nowhere even on here. It's actually ranking in like F tier because they murdered that thing. So the SVA 545 in the blue line is the highest ranking gun, and this is on burst. And you're going to see its time to kills are extremely competitive at all ranges. But because it's this like zero recoil burst gun, you're going to be the most accurate with it, which is why it's ranking so highly. Now, MTZ 556 and the Holger 556 are, if you want an automatic gun, if you don't like the burst guns, those are going to be the next two guns I recommend here. You can kind of barely see the Holger because it's kind of behind, but it's very competitive mid-range and long-range time to kills. SOA Subverter, don't really recommend using it anymore. It's still decent, but after it's nerfed, not as good. TAC Volvier, pretty underrated gun if you like the big, hard-hitting LMGs. And then the Bal-27 I included on there, really not worth using because its recoil is just so much worse, especially at long range. And then just to show you, the Ram 7 in the yellow line is way slower time to kill across the board throughout. So again, Ram 7, not at all worth using. All right, now let's look at the close range meta. And we have a bunch of different options that are ranking as meta. So the good thing is the close range meta, you have multiple different options to use. Whereas the long range meta, I think there's really only like 3 guns that are really worth using right now. So the Striker 9 is ranking number 1 at 10 out of 10 with the BP50 right behind it at a 9.97. This is the BP50 Aftermarket that we're using it as an SMG. Then we've got the WSP9, the regular Striker, the WSP Stingers, which I think this one's getting a little bit overrated because this is the akimbo build, which these things up close are disgusting. But it's kind of like a shotgun. Because it's an akimbo, you can't use it at longer ranges, so kind of more of a niche type weapon. You'll see we got the Ram 9, the Renetti Aftermarket, the MCW assault rifle, which I think honestly is ranking a little bit too low. I think honestly the MCW, you make a case, is probably at like number 4 maybe. And then actually the Holger 556 Aftermarket is ranking pretty high. I've already got a few of these builds selected here. So what I want to point out is the red line is the WSP9 Stinger Akimbos. Up close, these time to kills are insane, but you're not going to achieve these fast time to kills at these longer ranges because it's an akimbo and you have to hip fire it. But if you want to treat it like a shotgun, the Stinger is insane. Now, after that, you have the WSP9, the MCW, and the BP50 are all like super close to one another. But if we go to the expected time to kill, which includes that open bolt delay, then the WSP9 falls off a little bit because it has that 50 millisecond open bolt delay. Striker 9, which is ranking number 1 overall, though, is a little bit slower. It's like 0.03 of a second slower than the MCW. But the Striker 9 has just way better mobility, great recoil control, and very good time to kills at range as well. So close range meta, very, very open, lots of different options to use. But long range is, I mean, there's not a lot to use right now, to be honest. And then just to show you guys how bad the HRM9 is, the HRM9 is the yellow line, and you're gonna see it just is a way slower time to kill across the board, and it has pretty bad damage range now. So again, HRM9 not worth using anymore. Now, if you guys wanna look at more of these builds, some of them are right here. Just make sure you go to our website, ggs.ai. I will be doing an updated top loadouts video probably tomorrow. So if you're new to the channel, I'd recommend subscribing because I'll go through updated best loadouts and all that good stuff. There are a few more things that I want to talk about in the update before we finish up this video. So number 1, one of the cool things we have that they talked about in the patch notes is the heavy armor event. So this is a random chance that this happens. And if you get this, it'll happen at the very beginning of the game. Everyone's going to have 4 armor plates instead of 3. So it's going to be a total health of 350 instead of 300. So I don't know what the exact percentages are, but the patch notes say it is a low chance, but we will probably end up pushing an update here in the next few days that includes time to kills with that higher health in case you get that mode, because that could completely shift the meta and shift time to kills if there's an extra 50 HP. Also, they're bringing the weapons trade station back. If you remember, this was back in the end of Warzone 1. You can go up, put a weapon into the weapons trade station, and it will give you a worse weapon back, but more gear. So for example, if you go up to it and you give it a fully kitted out 5 attachment weapon, you have a chance of it giving you the specialist perk, which was just added to the game. If you don't know, the specialist perk gives you every single perk in the game at once. So it is extremely strong if you get it. There's also some other ways that you can randomly get it. It didn't really say in the patch notes, but I think it has to do with like the key cards and stuff like that. They also buffed the audio a lot on Rebirth Island. You can much better hear footsteps of enemies. Also, you can hear things like ascenders, parachutes, people getting revived. Overall, audio definitely seemed like it was improved significantly with this update. There's also a utility box that was added. So this is basically just a combination of both a munitions box and an armor box all in one. So these are very strong because, you know, it's kind of the best of both worlds in one. You're also going to be able to get the Foresight UAV, which is basically, it tells you every single zone. So you're going to know where the final circle is going to be. We don't know exactly how this is going to be. It, again, might be like a key card type thing, or maybe from like the weapon trade stations, but you are going to start noticing that in the game. There is a new mode, which is Loaded Resurgence. Right now, this is only available in trios, but it's like regular Resurgence, but you spawn in with your loadout. So if you're trying to level up your guns, this is probably a great way to do it. It is not like Plunder in the sense of, you know, you can still get wiped and stuff like that. And there is still like an end game like Resurgence, just you're spawning in with your loadouts. But one of the cool things is you can actually play in third person in this mode. If you just hit the start button, you can go and say switch to third person. And I mean, I think it's kind of cool. It's a little bit different, but it is a lot of fun to play that way as well. This is going to be the playlist for the week. So we have that Loaded Resurgence trios. Ranked play will still be in trios. Plunder quads for Urzikstan. Battle Royale for all 4 modes. And then Resurgence Rebirth will be on just quads. And then solos and duos will be map rotation, which I believe it's going to be a rotation between Vondel, Fortune's Keep, and Rebirth. I don't think Ashika's in the rotation, but I might be wrong on that. And then the last thing I want to touch on is they are adding the variable times of day for Rebirth. So I did get one game where I got the sunset time of day, which was very nice, very pretty. This is a low chance of happening. Most of the time you're going to get the regular sunny style looking of Rebirth. There is one that is labeled as fog, but they're saying it's not going to be nearly as foggy and poor visibility like Vondel was, if you remember how bad that was. So we'll just have to see. I haven't had a chance to get that one yet. But otherwise, guys, let me know what you think about the meta. Like I said, I'll be doing my top loadout video probably tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.